Hello, my name's Sarah Wombell and I'm the Senior Clinical Nurse Specialist for the Chronic Pain Services at Barking, Having and Redbridge University Hospitals NHS Trust. So today we're going to talk about sleep strategies. The aims of the session are to have an understanding of the sleep process and why sleep is important, to have a basic awareness of the sleep cycle and the stages of sleep, and to learn techniques to improve your sleep. So firstly, I want you to think about any sleep difficulties that you may experience. What are they? And what impact do they have on your day-to-day life? So why is sleep important? A lack of sleep can contribute to poor mental health, which can lead to low mood, depression or stress. A lack of sleep can contribute to obesity. And when we talk about the sleep process later on in the session, you'll understand how this can affect your feeding pattern. This can lead to diabetes or heart disease. And we know that when we have a lack of sleep, this can increase our pain levels. And a lack of sleep can contribute to many other health conditions. Research has shown that over £40 billion a year is lost in revenue due to sleep deprivation. So let's try to understand the sleep process. Process 1 is called the circadian cycle, or also known as the light-dark cycle. We all have an inbuilt circadian cycle, or known as our body clock. Our body clock adjusts to the environment around us, most importantly to daylight. The circadian body clock uses cues to synchronise or reset itself each day to the Earth's 24-hour clock. Our body responds to changes between light and dark due to a hormone in our body called melatonin. During daylight hours, we start to build melatonin up in our body. Then during the night, melatonin is secreted to make you feel sleepy. Now the circadian cycle can regulate your sleeping and feeding pattern, how alert you feel, your body temperature, your hormone production, and many other biological activities. So if for some reason the circadian cycle becomes disrupted, this could have an impact on any of these biological activities. So if, for example, we think about modern lifestyles and people who work shift patterns or who work at night, this can affect the circadian cycle and subsequently have an impact on any of the patterns we've discussed. Let's now talk about process 2. This is called the sleep-wake homeostasis. What this means is that we have an internal system that acts and operates as a kind of timer. When we have been awake for a long time, our internal timer tells us that we need to go to sleep. This system also helps us to have enough sleep throughout the night to make up for the hours when we were awake. So how much sleep do we actually need? 4 hours? 6? 8? Or 10 hours? Well, this can actually vary from person to person. And you'll know that you are getting enough sleep when you can carry out all your normal day-to-day activities and functions without feeling drowsy. So let's now look at the stages of the sleep cycle. When we first fall asleep, we start to enter stage 1. Our breathing and heart rate start to slow, and we start to lose awareness of sounds and stimulus around us. This is called light sleep. We then enter stage 2, where our sleep becomes more stable. We start to release chemicals that make it more difficult for us to wake. We then enter stage 3, and this is known as our deep sleep. Stage 3 tends to dominate the early part of our sleep, which means it's harder for us to wake when we first go to bed. As stage 3 progresses, our heart rate and breathing start to increase, and we may start to enter a period of rapid eye movement or REM sleep. This is known as dream sleep, and obviously, as it's called, where most of our dreams occur. Each cycle should last between 90 to 120 minutes. And theoretically, throughout the night, you should enter into each of these stages and continue to move through the stages without waking up. However, many of you know this is not always the case, and that you find you do wake during the night. This could be because as nighttime progresses, our time in stage 1 and REM sleep, which are lighter sleeps, tends to happen more in the early hours of the morning. So our periods in stage 1 and dream sleep are more frequent in the early hours of the morning. So this means a sound from outside, or as you're turning and you feel pain, because you're in a light sleep, you will therefore wake up. So how can we manage our sleep? We need to look at something called sleep hygiene. And we need to start examining factors that may be detrimental or beneficial to your sleep. This may be behavioural, something you do. It may be environmental, something that's going on around you. Or it may be linked to temporal, which is time. And you need to start adopting habits and routines that can ensure effective sleep. So let's first look at our body clock. Now it's important that you keep to a routine. You need to establish fixed times for going to bed and waking up. And within 30 minutes to an hour, you need to stick to the same time you go to bed each night and the same time you wake up in the morning. And you need to keep to this routine. Try to avoid sleeping in after a bad night, or avoid sleeping in at the weekend. And keep to the same routine of getting up at the same time and going to bed at the same time. Try to avoid napping during the day. If you do need to take a nap, it should be no more than 20 minutes. Any longer than this, you could enter your stage 3 sleep. And this could have an impact on your sleep later in the night. Try to replace napping with a period of mindfulness or relaxation. And try to get plenty of sunshine or natural daylight. If we think back to the circadian cycle that we talked about earlier, can you remember that exposure to daylight during waking hours helps to set your body clock? This helps to build up melatonin during the day, and then the melatonin is secreted at night to help you feel sleepy. Let's now look at your bedroom. Now it's important that your bedroom remains for sleep only. Do not watch television, puzzles, study, eat, or any other activities in your bedroom, because your body will start to associate these activities with being in bed, and it can make it difficult for you to fall asleep. Also, try not to use a mobile phone or a tablet within an hour of going to bed, because the backlit or blue light display of the mobile phone or tablet can suppress the production of melatonin. Try to avoid noisy, aggressive stimulants before bed, as these are likely to keep you awake. And try to make your bedroom a calming and pleasant environment. Let's now look at eating and drinking. Now, it's important you stay hydrated and eat a balanced and varied diet throughout the day. Try to avoid eating a heavy meal late at night. And if spicy foods aren't part of your normal diet, try to avoid these, as they can act as a stimulant and keep you awake. You should also try to avoid alcohol before going to bed. Although initially this may make you feel sleepy, you will find that over time you need greater and greater quantities of alcohol to get the same effect. You may find a milky drink prior to sleep can help you, but try to avoid drinks that contain caffeine, as this is a stimulant and ultimately can keep you awake. Let's now look at relaxation. And once again, I stress about keeping to a routine. Your body needs to know that it's time to go to sleep, and you need to develop a winding down routine. It may be that you do a mindfulness practice, or take a warm bath, or listen to some soothing music. But this routine needs to happen each night so that your body knows it's time to go to sleep and can prepare itself for sleep. Try to avoid exercise within 4 hours of going to bed, but exercise earlier in the day is beneficial. You may want to try herbal remedies. Research has shown that lavender, in combination with good sleep hygiene, can improve your sleep quality. Let's now talk about worries. It may be useful for you to write down any troubling thoughts or worries you have before you go to bed. You may want to use a mindfulness practice to help with these worries or thoughts. Turn your clock to the wall, or don't even have a clock in your bedroom, as watching the minutes go by will only exacerbate your worries. And don't put mental pressure on yourself or get upset if you cannot fall asleep. If you think back to the sleep-wake homeostasis, your internal timer will eventually allow you to fall asleep. And in summary, I want you to remember that your bedroom is for sleep only. Do not do any other activities, otherwise you will start to associate these when you're in bed. Your bedroom needs to be quiet, dark and a comfortable environment. Before bed, you need to start developing a winding down routine. You may want to do some relaxation, some gentle stretches, a mindfulness practice, or some breathing exercises. Try to avoid any form of stimulation, whether this is a television or using a mobile phone. Try to avoid late meals. And remember, any drinks that contain caffeine can act as a stimulant and keep you awake. And try to avoid catnaps during the day, as this will impact on your sleep cycle later at night. And most importantly, keep to a routine. Establish fixed times for going to bed and waking, and keep to this routine, as you will find it will have a significant impact on your sleep. So what next? Remember, what works for one individual may not necessarily work for another. You may want to keep a sleep diary for a month to monitor any issues that you have and to see if any of the strategies you put into place are helping. Think about what's going to work for you and what techniques are you going to use to help with your sleep. Develop your own individual plan. And for any further help, you may want to access the NHS Sleep Improvement Programme, which is a free online service. Alternatively, you can speak to your clinical nurse specialist within the pain service. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I wish you a good night and sweet dreams.